The King of Fighters 14.
Boy, is SNK back in a big way. Welcome to the King of Fighters 14. King of Fighters 14 took a while to get out there because SNK kind of wanted to explore a new look that would be much easier to develop for. So they came up with a 3D look. It was just like all the other kids were doing, but we can throw more characters in there. It may not be the prettiest girl in the ball, but it is the most populated. Considering the DLC characters in the bottom row, we're looking at 58 playable characters. And choosing a team for this run was very self-explanatory. Welcome to the Another World team.
Select.
So we're going to have little tiny story bits thrown about, but that's okay. SNK has earned that flex. So the Another World team
Round 1. Ready?
is filled with Nakaruru from Samurai Showdown. Don't worry, this does get explained. As well as 2 characters from SNK Pachinko games, Mui Mui and Love Heart. So this game is not too different from 13 in terms of gameplay structure.
Round 2. Ready?
You still have your max mode stuff. You still have climax supers. So if you play 13, you'll be right at home. But if you felt that 13 might be a little difficult to do what you want it to, 14 makes the stress a little less frequent.
You did it! You win! Round 3.
But as for Loveheart herself, she's a sky pirate. She has swords, she has uppercut punches. She's got a few unique moves. But overall, she's a fun addition. Weird considering it's King of Fighters, but, you know, weird is its middle name.
Order select.
For now, we're going to focus on the other Pachinko character, the Dragon Gal herself, Mui Mui.
Round 1. Ready, go!
If you played, say, Jam Crowderberry and Guilty Gear, you would feel at home with this character. She has a Rising Dragon kick. She has Rekka moves that she can do a feint and cancel out of. Another character that is just too fun to use.
Oh! You win! You win! You win!
I do like the announcer. He's not too enthusiastic, but he gets the message across.
Round 2. Ready, go!
So this style of graphics, what we're looking at is a game nearly 5 years after it was released. 5 years? But game did not look nearly as polished, and that was a point of contention.
Oh! You win! You win! You win! Hey, come out! Round 3. Ready, go!
Like, this game went through a couple of visual revisions over time to not make it look so PlayStation 2, so simple 2600 series looking thing. Oh, that was right in your face. I let up. And if you ask me, things turned out for the better. SNK did the best with what they could.
Order select.
But with the two obscure, unknown characters out of the way, let's get to a character that is far more known.
Round 1. Ready, go!
Nagaruru. Straight out of the pages of Samurai Showdown. Obviously, her moves have been simplified to be KOF inputs. She can still call the bird. She can still slide across the floor. Oh, you had to jump, didn't you? Now, Kensu, you need to be a team player here, or not.
Oh! Good fight! You win!
But for SNK, they were a couple years away from the game.
お、娘さん、新顔じゃな。一杯どうじゃ。
娘さんっておそらく私あなたより相当年上だと思いますよ。
なんじゃと？ ヒアルロン酸の効果かね。
それより私もひょうたんを使うお侍さんを知っていますよ。とても強い方でした。
おうほう、そうじゃろそうじゃろ。ひょうたん使いに半端なやつはおらんって。
I completely forgot there were unique intros in story mode. And it does call it story mode. Yeah, you gotta watch your step.
Impressive.
You lose.
When you start getting up there in the stages, you gotta watch your step, or else the game's gonna run you over. I know I made the first two stages look easy, it doesn't stay that way. Not to say it gets difficult, but it just means you're gonna have to stay on your toes. Because they can surprise you.
That was convincing. You win.
Yeah, Climax Supers are still in the game.
ラブさんは異世界の方なんですよね。こちらの世界に何か大切なご用でもおありなんですか？
まあいろいろとね。それより君はあの少年と付き合っているのか？ずいぶん親しいようだが。
ケースのことですか？違いますよ。同じ修行仲間で大切な友達です。
あの少年も大変だな。だがまんざらでもない。
ラブさんは好きな方とかいらっしゃるんですか？
アースか？いや違うな。どうでもいい。試合だ。行くぞ。
はい、浅見アテナ行きます。
Yep, it's so nice to remember when you got 3 bars, you got a climax, you were ready to go. Something else we're probably not going to get to, as there are unique versus intros, there's also unique versus music. If you have certain matchups, it plays classic KOF themes. This SNK was out of the game for a few years, as I was saying, so a lot happened in that time frame. A lot of the voice cast had to be replaced, but there were a few diehards that stuck around, and Athena was one of them. Despite all the voice changes Athena's had, she's had the same voice since 1998. Now that's dedication.
Order select.
We have a few DLC characters thrown into the mix. I don't think I've touched this story mode. I don't think I've touched this story mode until before the DLC characters were a thing. So this is a bit of a surprise. Excuse me.
What an outstanding finish. You win. Perfect game.
大自然のお仕置きです。
I'll be perfectly honest, I'm surprised Oswald was even brought back. He's a cool character, but relevant? I mean, you proved your point. You proved your point, you're definitely a fighter, but I figured his business would have concluded. That doesn't cancel, right? Remember the 10 minutes you spent in training mode prior to this.
You did it. You win.
大自然のお仕置きです。
派手に泣いてくれ。
Yamazaki, I'm not surprised to see back. It's super nice to see him kind of sticking around. He's been absent for a couple KOFs. Because he has a unique playstyle, unique moves. He certainly has a unique character to him. The classic Nakaruru normal. Good times.
人を傷つけてはいけません。カムイが泣いていますよ。
ああ、失礼します社長。いいとこだったのに。失礼します。大会の途中経過です。おお、どれどれ。ああ、なるほどね。現時点での視聴者数はなんと25億人を超えております。久しぶりの KOF 開催となりますが、過去の大会同様、今回もハイレベルな大会となっております。
おお、そうでなければ必死こいて開催権を得たりせんや。25億か、まだまだインパクトに欠けるな。決勝までに200億達成しろよ。
実はアメリカ国税調査局の推計では現在の総人口はおよそ70億人となっておりますが、いかがいたしましょうか。
失礼だぞ常務。
やはりチームを組まれた方が良かったのでは。
無用な心配だ。手から火を出すマジシャン風情などに負けるわけがない。
ああ、
俺が雇った専属チームがいるだろう。例の
元ネスツのシルビーがどうか。
ああいつらのチームすげえじゃねえか。決勝で俺とやり合うのはあいつらで決まりだな。しかも俺はあいつらより1億兆倍強い。
とはいえ、犬の映画で涙腺が緩むほどの年齢ですし、あまり無理をされては。
失礼だぞ常務。
しかし油断は禁物です。
心配しすぎだ常務。俺はペットを捨てるやつと心配性は嫌いだ。
失礼しました。
よし、そろそろウォームアップ開始だ。行くぞ部長。
はい。
So we learned a couple of things from that cutscene. Namely, Antonov fought the rights to the King of Fighters tournament. He has a sponsored team in the tournament itself. And whatever mystical events are occurring surrounding the KOF events are affecting Nakaruru's timeline as well. I'm pretty sure the cutscene with Nakaruru plays even if you don't have another world team, but funny how that works out. All the more reason why I picked this team for the run. And also, say hello to Kyo Kusanagi! As much of an icon as Kyo is, as much of a main character he has been in KOF, I haven't picked him proper. With the way I've been playing these games, you'd swear he never existed. Oh my god, I went right under it. Yeah, I was asking for that. No.
That was hot.
You lose. 燃えたろ
行くよママ母 Round 2 Ready
But I get to enjoy this rare sighting of KOF's
Perfect.
first main
You
protagonist.
win. Perfect game.
大自然のお仕置きです
始めようか
Round 3. Ready? Go. Nice hit. Phew. Phew.
Okay.
That was convincing. You win.
大自然のお仕置きです
Nagaruru's climax super. Very quick, very to the point.
Round 4. Ready? Go.
反応して
As you can tell, Daimon, just as nasty as he's been. He can hurt you from any distance.
反応したいですよ
Ooh. Had to avoid that. Well, not avoiding that.
反応して生母
Please stop jumping.
That was hot
You lose.
How else am I supposed to get offense started?
集え空を愛する者たちよ
Final round
Ready? Go.
Nope, I'll never stop jumping.
サイサイアンカーさあそれ捉えたハイラブアロージースラッシュフラエエリシオンウェーブジースラッシュ
There we go.
Winner.
悪いな私の中じゃ争いにすらなっていなかった
I started reaching the point in the game where I actually have to focus.
Order select.
Let's stick with put love first. Love should always come first. That is a life lesson for you.
集え空を愛する者たちよ
Round 1. Ready?
So here we have Xanadu.
ラッシュハート
When I was talking about weird additions to the KOF roster, this is who I was thinking of.
ラッシュハートそれ今温度ラッシュハートはい
I somewhat forget what he can do aside from waving his arms. Like so. Alright. You cannot take my time.
Oh, amazing! You win!
私の勝ちだ
Nice to see CD attacks are still in the game, and they define the word
また随分と分かりやすい悪人の登場だな
正解でやんす。足は怖い通りまでやんすよ。
悪いが全く怖さは感じない肝皮系でもないな
すぐに恐怖を実感させてやるでやんす。
Round 2. Ready? Go!
はいチーズスラッシュ
So, Choi, he's still Choi. Still a little hard to gauge if air attack's actually a thing with him, just because he's a lot shorter than your typical fighter. This is kind of why I need you. Not just press buttons when I'm around him. And yet, here we are.
Congratulations!
You lose.
快感
いくよ、ママ母。Round 3. Ready, go!
You're invincible. You win.
大自然のお仕置きです。
So far, none of the characters on my team have been announced for the King of Fighters 15. Probably not going to be in the base roster. I'll be lucky if they're even DLC. Please react accordingly. There we go. Still gotta take it easy, Uncanny. He's not as deadly as he's been. But that still doesn't mean we can just press buttons against him.
Order select.
Alright.
Round 1.
Ready,
So here we have the South American team. They're an actual team. Another group that has not been announced for 15 outright. And there are a few unique characters in here, like Nelson the Boxer. This was a world where Vanessa wasn't even DLC in 14. So if you wanted a boxer, this was your guy. And he has the move list to match.
amazing. You win. Round 2. Ready, go.
So here we have the character I like the most of the bunch, Serena. Capoeira is not uncommon in terms of your fighting characters, especially in SNK world. But that doesn't mean it's exclusive to them. It's just nice to have another capo in the game.
綺麗な鳥さん、はじめまして、大橋のココです。パパイヤが大好物なの。こちらこそはじめまして。うちのママ母はネズミさんやカエルさんが大好きみたい。ああ、猛禽類ですものね。こちらの世界に来てからはハムスターというネズミさんをよく食べてますよ。ああ、はい。あとスズメさんもしょっちゅう捕まえてますよ。逃げてココ。Round 3. Ready, go.
But Serena's another fun character they added in 14. They added a lot of new characters to fill out that roster. Oh, that's what I get.
ここからです。お願いママ母。あんなの見たいですよ。
We have a winner. You win.
大自然のお仕置きです。
And then we have Banderas Hattori. I don't know where you sit on the family tree. Probably the weakest of the South American teams. In my opinion, you have like the Steve Fox, that's Bosker, and this Happy Capo with her Toucan, and then you have Ninja Man. He's worth talking about for exactly as long as that round took.
Winner.
これが完成というものなのですね。感激しました。
Order select.
Moving right along. Few key characters thrown in here. Namely our new hero, Shune.
Round one. Ready? Go.
I'm not a big fan of Shune. His moves are nice, but I just feel he's a bit over-designed, and ultimately, just not as essential to KOF storyline as Kyo was, as Kei was, as Ash was. He's just not as important.
Good job. You win.
It feels like this game could have continued swimming right along without him. You, on the other hand,
Round two. Ready? Go.
Brock Howard in a proper King of Fighters game. It's super nice to finally get that addition because A, people have been asking for him for years. B, it felt like the time was right. I really hope they make him more of a mainstay. And give him your own team while you're at it. Mark of the Wolves has been aching for 20 years.
Round three. Ready? Go.
There was a Mark of the Wolves team in 11, but without Rock Howard. Can you really call it a Mark of the Wolves team? That would be like having a Fatal Fury team without Terry. So, Hyder, also a DLC character. It's nice to get him back in fighting again, because it feels like he has not been playable in ages. Oh my god, please finish your plate, man.
I am so excited.
You lose.
任務完了。
集え空を愛する者たちよ Round 4
Ready? Go.
チーズスラッシュそれチーズスラッシュ先空
The knockdown you deserve.
Winner.
格闘だろうと空の戦いだろうと負ける気はしない
ザ・キング・オブ・ファイターズ決勝戦チャンピオンアントノフの入場です
Round
よくぞここまで勝ち上がった。しかし一人で戦うアンドノフこそ真のチャンピオンという事実。フルパワーでかかってこい。
I have saved my discussion for Antonov until the moment you have to fight him, because he's fucking awesome! This man bought the rights to KOF and has declared himself the champion. Why? Because he said so. He also gets his own personal theme. So Antonov is a heavy-hitting boss. His attacks are heavy, his movement is heavy, and his smoking habits are heavy. Thankfully, he's a KOF boss that is reasonable. I didn't say he was a pushover, just that he was reasonable. So he's a fun fight, a fun character, and a fun boss.
お前のような大柄な男は今までに何度も倒してるんだ。
社長、無理をなさらず。
パーフェクトだ。このベルトは君たちの。
ナコルルが追ってきたってやつか。
よーし、私がやっつけてやる。過去、現在、未来、いろんなところから集まってきた憎悪や負の塊。この時代で復活するつもりです。
あの中。
4は悪の塊、悪論法ね。
なんだそれは。でもあいつを倒せば全て解決、無事帰還ってことだな。
ええ、おそらく以前に時空が壊れるような出来事がこの世界に起こったのでしょう。まだ不完全なようです。今のうちに倒すことができれば。
危ない。
チャンピオンのおじちゃん。
大丈夫だ、案ずるな。
チャンピオンのおじちゃん。
いや、おじちゃんはすでにチャンピオンではない。化け物を倒す真のチャンピオンは。
社長。
おじちゃん。うわ、痛そう。
でかいから大丈夫だろ。
さあ皆さん、気を引き締めてください。
さあ
ことになってまいりました。これは一体どういうことでしょうか。突如目の前に現れた謎の現象、なんと徐々に人の姿に変化しつつあるようです。この状況を我々はどう理解すればよいのでしょう。全世界の皆様、 AMBC クレメンス・ベラミーが命を懸けてお伝えしております。
Dude, just get to cover. It's not that big a deal. Alright, so... yeah, this is our plot for 14. Remember those events where Ash kind of erased himself out of existence in 13? Well, that phenomenon created a being of pure malice and destruction. Because that's how that works. In any case, Verse is your SNK boss. Your combo game has to be on point here. Any drop is fatal, as you can see. Verse has a few tricks. Mostly, he's a hands-on kind of guy. He's gonna be a bit of a rough customer. Just because he has moves that are not only fast, but startup invincible, which is, you know, always fun.
Round 2. Ready? Go! Ta! Beam selection! Ion Ta! Dora! Ta! Sore!
And fucking up a single combo is a third of your life gone. And that's with one bar. Come here. Trying to draw him in, but nothing doing.
Yes! KO victory!
But yeah, he's just a big boy that happens to have a lot of fighting potential.
Ready? Go!
And a bulky boy. Nice job. I would like to point out that was a 1-bar EX mode combo. Good riddance to bad rubbish.
Got テレビをご覧の皆様、我らがチャンピオンが見事に勝利しました。アントノフ社長は無事です。社長も無事です。ヘリの音が聞こえます。おそらく救助の部隊かと思われます。全世界の皆さん、我々は生きております。このような状況の中、何？お掃除？キングオブファイターズをご覧の皆様、衝撃的な展開、激闘の末、新チャンピオンが誕生いたしました。それではスタジオにお返しします。 AMBC クレメンス・ベラミーが決勝会場よりお送りしました。さようなら。
In any case, that is the King of Fighters 14. If the opening was an indication with the original SNK logo, with the Neo Geo jingle, this was SNK's big return. Until this game came out, they were still SNK Playmore. But then they had earned the rights to call themselves SNK again. And with the King of Fighters 14, it was a deserved return to form. KOF 14 is an incredible task. This game started out the gate, no revisions, from scratch, 50 characters. You don't see that in fighting games. At most, you'll get, at least you'll get like 20 characters, 30 after a couple revisions. SNK dropped with 50. And granted, the graphics were not the best, but they sacrificed visual fidelity to give you quantity. And this is a point that must not be understated, considering we're coming up to King of Fighters 15, and we're going to be running into a reduced roster. So 14 is definitely a mark. A worthy cast of new characters. Plenty of old faces returning. Plenty of fan favorites being made canon to the King of Fighters universe. And there's enough presentation here with full-on FMVs. Nice HD arts for the endings. In terms of general presentation, they did not fail. They hit it out of the park with this one. And that's not even talking about the gameplay. This is probably the most refined the KOF had been in a long time. Because up to this point, they had a few games after 2002 where they were experimenting with, like, tag-based systems. And they had 13 out there with, like, HD drive combos, and it's like, whoa, the human mind can't comprehend this. So with 14, they took a couple of years to kind of go back to the drawing board and realize what was essential to making a good KOF game. And I think they nailed whatever they were asking themselves in this one. But this took me a while to get around to, because I consider 13 a bit of a failed run, because I wasn't expecting to lose the Dark Acid as much as I did. So for 14, I wanted to kind of take a while to play the game again, get reacquainted with it. Refamiliarize myself. And granted, I had a bit of a warm-up, but no continue spent. That's good enough. So even with 15 looming on the horizon, you know how you go back to the older games and play them? I feel like I want to do the same thing for 14. Just come back to it once in a while and appreciate the cast, appreciate the presentation, appreciate the attempt. Because it feels like whatever styles clash SNK games were experiencing, that debate ended when 14 came around. Because then you had Samurai Showdown a few years later. And boy, that game was something else entirely. But that does it for mainline KOF. We've taken every King of Fighters game, and over the course of a year, we've beaten every arcade mode. This was a nice little project of mine that I'm glad to finally see come to its proper conclusion. But,
New record.
yeah. But with everything considered, we're not done with our journey yet. I mean, we still have this Fighting EX layer game. That had Terry Bogard in it. We could explore that. I mean, Super Smash Bros. Eventually got Terry Bogard. I mean, we've got options. Options to explore. But at least we don't have to worry about... Oh, fuck.